You want?
All right, trustees, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines are opened. Go for it.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Trustees for December 9th, 2024. I'd like to open with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Arlene, can you do roll call, please?
John Baker.
Here.
Francis Fox.
Here.
David Cataletto.
Here.
Patrice Dalton.
Here.
Ben Dollinger. Jim Garneau.
Here.
Jim Grimes is here. Saw him. Celia Josephson. And Bill Taylor.
Here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start off with public comment. May I have that, John? Okay, we're going to start off with East Hampton High School students and Dr. Tiemann with an update of the Oyster Reef project.
Hey, welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys. My name is Jocelyn. I'm representing the South Fork Sea Farmers, and we're about to give our update on the oyster reefs in Accabonac Harbor. Bear with me, folks, as I start here.
What grade are you in?
12.
Yep, okay.
As of now, we have constructed 3 reefs. They're all located in Accabonac Harbor. Our first reef was constructed in September of 2022. Our second was built last year in December, and our most recent was in June of this year. We have a couple reefs planned up. Our next reef will be located in 3 Mile Harbor. We already have the paperwork approved by the DEC. And our 5th reef, we plan on building in Northwest Harbor. The paperwork is still in progress, but we've already sent that out. This is an image of Accabonac Harbor and where all of our 3 reefs are located. We have the 3 reefs as well as the oyster gardening site, and we also have Barley's seeding, doing the annual seeding in Accabonac Harbor. When it's time, all these locations will spawn at about the same time, and this will increase the chance for natural set. This is a picture of me collecting data from our first reef. If you can see, it's sticking above the water, sticking up above the water in the background.
Yeah.
This is an aerial shot of Reef 1. We constructed it in a line for our first reef. For the first year, the reef had a yearly survival rate of about 93%, which is excellent. And the second year, we collected the yearly survival rate, and we got a 94.5%. As the years go on, we should be seeing a rise in these numbers. This is another image of Reef 1. About 2 years after it was put in, you can see there's success in growth of the oysters. As they start sticking out of the bag, they'll start to grow together, and by the time that these bags biodegrade and disappear, the fact that the oysters are growing together is what will hold the reef in place. This is an aerial shot of Reef 2.
Leo, don't stress over it.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. We constructed this reef in December. This was the first time that I helped in constructing the reef. We were out in the snow putting this reef together, so I quickly learned that a 3mm wetsuit was not appropriate for the weather. This past year, the yearly survival rate for this reef was 60.5%. It's much lower than the first reef, and we think it's due to the harsh weather from us putting in the reef in December because the water was so cold, and that day the water was pretty rough. We think that had something to do with the survival rate. However, the reef is flourishing right now, and we've seen a lot of success.
So with oysters, live oysters on the shell in the bags, the same size when you put them in the water for the first reef and the second reef?
Yes, they were about 8 months old
Yeah.
when we put them in the reef. The reason we didn't wait to build that reef the next summer when it was the right temperature for that was because they already hit their 8-month period and we had to put them in the water.
Are you there long enough to see that they open and close, or you just see them briefly?
When we're out in the reef, the water is kind of rough, so we can't really see that detail, but we do have GoPro footage of the reefs feeding, opening. We have a picture in the slide somewhere where they, like you can see, they're just about cracked, and that's when they're feeding. This is another picture of some oysters attached to a shell. This picture was taken when I was collecting the data for my experiment and my data collection for Reef 2. This is probably my favorite shot. This is an aerial view of our latest reef, also in Accabonac Harbor. We built this in June, and you can see me on a surfboard. It was more for just, we were trying not to step on the base, because if the base sinks, then the oysters on top are likely to get suffocated. But we realized that that method wasn't really efficient for our time. So we just plopped the rest of the bags on top, and yeah, I think it took about 2 days, about 3 hours each. We had a bigger crew for this reef construction this time, so it went by a little faster.
Is the bottom level like the dead shells?
Yes, there's just blank shell.
One level blank shells.
And then the second layer is going to be the spat on shell. This is what the spat on shell looks like. It's the black dots on the shell. That's the size of the oysters when they're first put into the water. So as you can see, they are very tiny. They barely have a grip on the shell, which would make sense for the low survival rate on the second reef when it was put in the harsh weather. It's easy for these spat to get ripped off the shell in harsh weather compared to calm water in the summer.
What was the reason that the second reef, the one that was planted in December, I'm assuming that the spat was, the process by which the spat set on the shell was later than was done in the first reef?
Yes.
Because what was the reason for that?
Well, we couldn't wait any longer. They were already sitting at Farley's nursery for too long, and the bags were falling apart. It was already time for them to move out and get put on the reef. They already hit their 8-month point, which is the time that we usually put them in the water. The nursery, when they're there, they have to feed the oysters, and that food, it's a lot of maintenance. So the more they grow, the more food they need. So that's why we decided to move them into a bigger pond where more food is available. It's okay. This was the. The last image showed the oysters sticking above the algae on Reef 3. You can see there's already growth after a couple months being put into the water. You can see a crack near the heads of the oysters, and that's them feeding. They're opening their mouth and they're feeding on the algae in the water. We don't have any data yet for this reef because it's only been a couple months in, but in about a year, we will have the data for the oyster reef survival.
Do you check for the survival in early summer or late spring?
I plan on going in February. We usually wait a couple months for the reef to settle, and then we collect data about monthly, every 2 weeks, until we hit that yearly point. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a monitoring plan? Like this is part of a formal monitoring plan?
Yes, we do. We have planned to put in a sort of, it's like a monitor that monitors the water quality, the turbidity in the water. We haven't put them in yet, but as far as the actual oysters, me along with the other interns were all visiting the reef often to collect the data. And what we do is we take out a bag from each reef, we open it up, we count in 2 years, so we plan on monitoring them closely for 2 years, right?
Yeah. At this point, Reef 1, it's got so much growth on it that they're kind of crowding each other out. It's going to be hard to monitor at this point, but we'll be visiting just to see the basic health of the reef and make sure there's no die-off.
For how long? How long are you thinking that you'll be doing this?
The state requires it for 3 years, I believe, but it's still going to be, it's not something we're going to drop after 3 years if it's still going to be to make sure they're healthy.
But we're also going to Reef 1 because we did place some bags with blank shell, and we're checking those bags or pulling them out of the water to see if there's any natural set.
You have a thicker wetsuit?
I'm planning on getting one. I have waders, which work a lot better, wetsuit and waders.
And where's Reef 4 going to be in Northwest Harbor?
It's going to be by the East Hampton Marina. It was difficult to find a spot there, but the closest spot we found that fit the requirements that we needed, which were like hard bottom mostly and easy access, was right near the dock, right?
Yeah.
Of the East Hampton Marina.
Yes.
Northwest Harbor?
No, it's 3 miles.
That's 3 miles.
3 Mile Harbor. Northwest Harbor was, sorry, that's Reef 5.
That's Reef 5, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
that was my mistake. Where's Reef 5?
That's in Sag Harbor, Northwest Harbor. You know where Northwest Creek comes in?
Sure.
Little Northwest Creek, I think it's
No,
called.
it's actually
Little northwest or
Little.
northwest?
It's between. the
Oh, it
two.
is the little.
Little
Little,
North.
okay.
Yeah, it's maybe 100 yards over
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
But there's also some discussion now.
It's outside of the.
The state has basically informed us that they can't give permission on that land. So there's going to be some discussion about who owns that.
Underwater land?
That bottom there. The state is saying that you don't have jurisdiction there. Varley has responded to them. So there's a discussion going on, which all of us were confused about when it started. So
The state is saying the trustees don't have jurisdiction?
yes.
Of course they are.
So that's what's holding that up right now. And Varley's had some discussion with them via email, and we'll see where it goes.
Do you have a DEC permit for that, or?
No, that's what held that
Part of
up.
that?
Yeah.
Did they say if the state claims jurisdiction, which state agency would give you permission? I don't know.
No, they kind of just said, we can't give you permission. Or I'd have to show you the email to get the exact wording, but it was unexpected. Put it mildly.
Keep us appraised.
Okay.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Does anybody else have questions?
Oh, no.
Any from the audience?
Sure.
Can they be used for a combination of obviously seeding and filtering and cleaning the water and erosion control? Like, what are the site characteristics? Is it clean, hard sand bottom that's maybe high velocity, like near the channel at 3 Mile Harbor appropriate?
Yeah, that was mostly the plan for when we were constructing them so the linear reef was the first reef that we constructed, but because of the duck blinds near this location of the second reef, we had to change the shape of the reef. So now it doesn't cover as much shoreline area, but oyster reefs do help prevent shoreline erosion. It would just be better and more efficient in doing so if it was in a line. Any more questions?
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job.
Jocelyn.
That it? Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Next, Peter Mendelman, Halsey's Marina Emergency Piling Replacement. Not Peter, Mark.
Peter.
Peter,
No, you got
Mark.
it right. Sorry. Thank you for getting me on the agenda. Just before Thanksgiving, my brother and I were at Halsey's Marina, and we took a little Boston whaler out and started shaking pilings, and we found quite a few wobbly ones, especially at the end of our 4 main finger piers on the west side. When you stand on them and shake the finger pier, it kind of goes side to side. So Keith Grimes Inc. has been in the harbor with their barge doing work at 2 of our properties. We're almost finished at Gardner's Marina, and they're doing a great job and finishing up at 60 Harbor View as well. And we asked them if they might have time in their schedule to try to do some piling replacements to replace all the pilings that we found that are weak, are probably 40 years old. They're all green CCA. If they would have time, because we actually have a stock of Green Heart pilings to put new pilings in before they left for Montauk. So sometime in December or maybe even early January, but most likely in December. And they said yes. So I scrambled to put together a permit application to try to get it to you because this is your only meeting. And I'm basically here asking, because the logistics just seem like they would work out. 18 pilings sounds like a lot, but it's, we probably have over 100 different pilings supporting piers and freestanding pilings at Halsey's, asking if it might be able to be reviewed and possibly even be approved in the next few weeks. I know that's a big ask.
Hey, Peter, you have an open DEC permit on
Yeah, we have a 10-year DEC permit. And actually, from a DEC perspective, piling replacements in kind, basically not in kind because you're replacing treated wood with untreated wood. Piling replacements in the same spot is no permit required. NPN, no permit necessary.
Yeah.
I don't see any trouble with that. I mean, you're not moving them, right?
Middle of January, so I'm pretty comfortable.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? There you go.
Quick update, by the way, on 60 Harbor View, we're putting in the permeable reactive barrier to reduce nitrogen flow in cooperation with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And they looked at data from their test wells and found that most of the nitrogen flow was at a depth to grade of 20 to 25 feet below grade, which was kind of surprising to them. We thought it would be more shallow, so did they. So they've changed their design and they're going to be continuing that work probably in January, February, or March. They're going to, instead of putting in big boxes of wood chips right behind maybe 10 to 15 feet deep, they're going to be drilling foot diameter, a whole series of foot diameter wells and stuffing the wood
Are
chips
they
down.
coming back from the bulkhead on that as a result?
No, the distance from the bulkhead's still going to be around 6 to 10 feet. and their engineer hasn't quite figured out how wide and how many holes to do it, but they got groundwater flow and velocity and the nitrogen measurements, and they found the spike there, and they think they can treat it quite well with this approach. So,
Does that mean that you won't need to put any holes in your sheet pile?
exactly, because our sheet pile only goes down 18 to 20 feet below grade. So it'll be good all the way around. It makes
You're
the
on the
price.
same page with Cornell then?
We're 100% on the same page. It was a big concern earlier because we thought we were going to have to excavate down 20 feet, which is difficult.
That's all I was asking, if you were coming back from the face of that bulkhead.
Yeah,
Because-
yeah, so it'll be at least 6 feet back from the face of the bulkhead, and they'll have monitoring wells before the PRB and after the PRB that they'll monitor for the next 3 years, so they can see how well it's doing treating the flow.
How many wells are they going to have before the PRB?
I think it's gonna be at least 3 along there. They have 2 more permanent wells all the way on the way uphill east side of the property, so they can monitor what the neighborhood flow is coming into the property. And then several, like 4 wells just in front of the PRB, and then another few wells between the PRB and the bulkhead.
So I'm envisioning the holes that they drill to fill with the material are going to be down into the water flow area.
Yes.
30 feet or so.
Yeah. They have this auger, and they've developed this technique that they've used on another project. I was like, are you going to put a casing down? How are you going to get the wood chips down there? But they use the auger and compressed air. They pull the dirt out with the auger, and then they, I guess, spin the dirt chips in with a mixture of some gravel, some pea gravel as well. And they said it works great, and they don't need casings. I don't know. So I'm not sure. I just saw pictures, but they have their own machine, their own equipment, and their own people. So it's become a much simpler logistical process for them, even though it's deeper.
Where are they going to come in from?
They come in from Harbor Marina. There's road access there because there's no access from upland on the property. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah,
Arlene, would that be able to be written up in time for? Thank you.
I should be able to get that done this week.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yep.
I have one question for Jocelyn and Bob.
Sure.
Do we have that presentation? Did you send that to the office?
Yes.
We're over it. Okay, great. Thanks.
What's that?
all right. Next, we have a request from Eric Brown of the Law Office of Ackerman, Brown to use the parking lot at the end of Atlantic Avenue Beach for overflow contractor parking during the renovation of the home located on the ocean at 169 Atlantic Avenue, Amagansett. Billy, are you representing? No, I understand, but.
Good evening, I'm Billy Kalbacker. I'll be doing this project. I've been working on this particular piece of property for 41 years. I'm also the COO of the Clamshell Foundation, so I realize you guys give me a lot of help through the years, and I know that I respect the dunes, and I want to use your parking lot to decrease any damage that we do on the property of 169, and we'll maintain it and keep it clean. And that's really the deal.
I had a question. The use of the parking lot just be for, the guys?
For the day workers, when they come, we'll park them there, and then I've done this in Sag Harbor too. I parked in the parking lot and then brought them to the
Not
job
the
site.
construction equipment?
We might have if Marta comes in and has to put a trailer over there while he's using machines, that would be it.
What's the dates for this?
Well, if everything's approved, it would be next September.
So then run through the fall
Into the fall and into the winter. I have all my clients only have 18 weeks of using their homes out here, so my stress level is from September till June.
I think it might be, I don't know whether, does everybody here understand where this is?
No, I was just looking at
Okay,
it on my.
what it is this is that house, God, what is it? It goes, it's 100 years old.
Yeah, it's 100 years.
Old gray house.
It goes, the Atlantic Beach parking lot, there's a little road just before it.
Right.
It's a trustee road that
Okay.
actually goes to this house. Now, the town doesn't want them parking along the road because it's pretty encumbered by wetlands. So at the ZBA meeting, they were asked for a construction protocol. This is about is that construction protocol is how are you going to handle your overflow parking? The ZBA wants assurances that that the trustee road and the adjacent wetlands are not going to be impacted by the work that's going on here. Billy, little bad news. We probably don't own that parking lot. You're going to have to get permission from the town, too.
Oh, all right, I'll do
All
it.
right?
We have no objection to you using it.
Okay. Well, here's if perhaps we've been just told that we may not own it. So either way,
All right.
I think you made a right stop coming here. But also, I think, did Eric send the town a letter as well?
I did a protocol letter. I don't know if you received it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so I have that, and then we have to follow all the rules and regulations of working in the dune, and, so we're good.
So once they park in there, how are they going to access the house?
Well, I'll have one of the trucks go and get them.
Oh, a shuttle.
It'll be like a day work. We'll have, guys in the back hanging off the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, you should clear with the town, like if there's any park, if they're looking for, so they collect fees to some of the parking.
Yeah, whatever they need.
So, yeah, I
I'm
don't
easy.
think the trustee board has any problem with it.
Okay. Is that it?
Unless you have something else.
No, that's
Make a
it.
motion to approve the use of the focus on construction.
Sure.
Somebody want
I make a motion to approve the use of the Atlantic Beach parking lot,
Well, we don't own the parking lot. Use of the road.
use of the road.
There you go.
Thank you all. And thanks for the whole
Second that?
Second.
I lost 5 hives this year.
Oh, do you keep these?
Yeah.
No,
Bees and chickens.
these are chickens. No chickens.
All right, thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Take it easy, Bill.
Take it easy.
No, it runs,
It runs.
it's actually like 2 or 3 houses before the parking lot.
Yeah, I know where it is, but
And then
is
it runs the
part of
out-
same piece of property that encompasses the parking lot?
It sort of runs completely around the park.
I think it very well. This was the road
It's,
that we were asked if they could do the parking.
Whether this is ours or not, it's
Sold the house.
kicked around.
They never did it.
Never did it.
So,
Bless
as
them.
far as he knows, we don't own it.
all right, next we have 38 Association Road. So Mac, I believe. Billy, you there?
Yep, I am here. What's happening, guys? Happy
How you
holidays,
Did
everybody.
everybody get a chance to look at this? Yeah, just pass this around.
You're going to introduce it.
Okay, 38 Association Road, fronts the Atlantic Ocean. It is the house just west of kind of that iconic Kennedy House that you see down at the water there. The proposed action here is, Bill, what? Sand fencing. Are you putting in sand on this or just fencing and beach grass?
A little bit of sand. Yeah, there was some erosion last winter that we weren't able to get sand from the dredging to benefit restoring that dune. So we just like to do that this coming season.
I just want to point out, this is work that gets done along that whole shoreline. Typically, it's done sometime over the winter before the piping plover season. And if there's no objections here, I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Aye. Second.
Yeah, second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.
Okay, thanks, Billy. You too.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Right, that's gone. Next we'll go to Georgia dredging bid package. What's that?
Who has it? That's,
Yeah,
I'm
who's
on
doing- you're
beaches.
doing that?
We placed it in the newspaper. It is running. The package is available for anyone that wants it. You have a copy in there. And, it's gonna run for 2 weeks and then we'll have sealed bids. So just call the trustee office or email us or contact one of the trustees.
So bid package is available. It's posted in the newspaper. Call the trustee office if you're interested. Got it. Old business docks. Going to be delaying the implementation of the new dock fees and policies. Are we supposed to be doing this?
No, you guys were going to discuss in committee.
I mean, you said, okay, Chris, do you believe we don't have to vote on this? We're just informing the board?
Correct.
Okay. Allison, do you wanna, or John?
Yeah, because we're continuing to review some of the complications of some of the dock configurations and how they fit into our new policies. Haven't gotten to the point where we can put all the bills out for this year, for 2024. It was wise to just bill people at the 2023 rate with a linear foot as opposed to square foot charge. And then get the 2025 bills out with the new, under the new policy.
That makes sense. Because right now our financials don't show any income from docks. So if we just get that populated before the books are closed at the end of the year, it would be good.
Yes. I don't know how that works. I mean, they'll go out before the end of the year. I'm not sure if payments can be applied to 2024 if they come in 2024.
Our accountant said if I create the invoice in 2024, even if the payment comes in 2025, it can get applied from when the invoice was done, but we'll have, the trustees can speak to the accountants and everything. I'll create the invoices in 2024.
Because people have asked me, like, when am I going to get my bill? Yeah, that would be helpful. I mean, as long as they sent out, it should hit the books as a liability, you know, so, yeah.
Seems to be workable.
All right, committee reports, Lazy Point, Napeag, we have update on the dredging of the inlet.
Yeah, that's continuing on. They seem to be moving along pretty well. Now, they're doing it at night as well. There's been a little bit of collateral damage. There was a retaining wall taken out at somebody's house down there. There's been a smattering of complaints from a few of the homeowners. Hopefully, we'll get this behind us sooner than later. We're still working on trying to put together a meeting sometime. It's probably going to be after the new year to interview a prospective engineer and firm to do our application package and, for the East Inlet.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
That's it.
How about streamlining some of the communication between all the bodies as far as Kim Shaw, whoever, just being aware of what's happening?
Well,
when this dredging
Kim, truthfully, Kim Shaw has been great. We talk literally several times a week. The communication issue, quite frankly, is between the county and town of East Hampton. We are completely excluded from the dialogue. And part of the reason for that is many years ago, our board had this position of not engaging with the agencies, such as the county DEC. So the town became lead and became the liaison. Even though that has changed with us in DEC, the vestige is the county. And the experience that we've all had there is they're just not a very user-friendly group. It's really, quite frankly, for a government agency, their sort of public relations is awful.
I mean, is that something we can work on?
Well, we're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on it. It's,
Okay.
Actually,
It's gotta be worked through the dredge committee and the county,
Francis, Patrice, and I met last week to talk about, how we might go forward along those lines. And
Right.
bring in, interact with Kim, interact with Ann Welker, and, so bring in the town's interests, the trustees' interests, county political interests, and then possibly approach DPW about going forward and, being more receptive to the collective wishes of the town.
It's just getting information.
well, it's been a struggle, and we were sort of forewarned about it beforehand. John, you talked to Ann, I spoke to Ann. We seem to both be having the same conversation with her. She's offered to help out with this, and I think this is going to be one of those probably best solved is on a face-to-face basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this might take a little time.
Sure.
We have to.
We have 10 years.
No, we would like to get this
I'm
worked
kidding.
out before the next project.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, this would be the most important thing is to get this relationship going
Yes.
before
Have
whatever's
a
going to happen. in
streamlined communication
2025.
from all the entities, so we know.
Which hopefully will be, I think will be academic, and ideally will get them coming down towards the launching ramp. Maybe not all the way, but at least maybe they'll be able to continue down there and keep taking that point off of the last point.
They're willing to discuss it.
It's part of their permit, so there's no reason they can't do that.
Good, thanks.
Did have a discussion with one of the engineers about, we have a 10-year permit with 7 dredges for Accabonac Harbor. How do how will we know when they're going to be scheduled? And he was open to discussing it,
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and what the options are for us. So I think it's good that out of this, we have some better communications with them.
For sure. I mean, John, you remember last year when they started dredging in Northwest Harbor, in Northwest Creek, which was our transect for the horseshoe crabs. And where I was down there, I was just like, oh my God, I had no idea. No one knew what was going on. And I was like,
It's the
this.
same.
Well, we all found out the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just trying to plug that hole going forward.
Yeah. I think we have to be more in tune with their resourcing, and because they're going to do it when they have resources, and that's how we figure that out as we talk to them, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good. We just need to know who
It's fair.
manages the workflow there.
Yep. It shouldn't be a surprise.
No, because they also had to do soundings before they dredged, so somehow we weren't aware of that.
Well, apparently the residents down there saw the boat doing the soundings, recognized it as something unusual, but never advanced that information to us.
Yeah, but what's too bad is that there isn't some policy in place that if you're working in the town of East Hampton, you make the agencies in that town aware of what you're proposing to do.
You would think that would just be standard procedures.
They have a notice of commencement, and they have a notice of completion. We're not copied on those.
No, I know.
Well, I think the trick is to bring them around to that without alienating them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's not
we
easy.
just wanna
Is that
change
something
our-
Ann can do? Can Ann?
Ann's going to help us with this. I think we spoke about this, and I think what I took away from the conversation is that the dialogue with the specific department, it's a little bit futile that then we're gonna need help from some of the elected officials in the county.
Yep. It's easy.
But they are open to discussing us getting, not a dredge, but, some way of bringing the dredge into the harbor. The platform, what do you call that?
The barge?
The barge. They're not, and if we need something done, they're open to us getting it done ourselves, contracting with somebody to do it.
Well, and also, there could be, and we had this discussion, some joint projects, such as if they didn't have the monies allocated to continue to dredge beyond a certain point, cooperation in getting the modifications to the permits they have, and perhaps the trustees and the town or the trustees paying the difference in terms of what they would typically budget from point A to point B. If there's point B plus 200 feet, we would pay the extra.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how they, I think they have a certain number of dredges of their own, maybe 2, and those would be the ones like they use at Accabonac Harbor. That's one of their dredges, and that's their crew. So where they deploy them is not financially driven,
But Trees, the actual amount, the physical distance that they're willing to dredge
right,
is sort of determined.
Dredging done by the county dredge beyond where they would normally have gone, and Southold paid for that part of the dredging.
yeah, if they have the dredge there, I think they'll be amenable to that. But the other option he gave was a company who's headquartered in Southold and one in Riverhead who do dredging, and he said,
Well, there's an economy, there's one of the bigger costs of doing dredging work is the startup.
right, getting there.
Mobilization.
Mobilization and demobilization. So if you can pony on a contractor, whether it's a subcontractor that the county uses or whether it's their own dredge, it's possible to pony on to that.
Yes.
There's an economic advantage to everyone. It's an advantage to the county because it would help offset some of their costs. It's an advantage to us because we can get some of this work done without paying the startup and the demobilization costs.
You can see by looking at Napeag the amount of effort it went to getting those machines positioned, those.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. The interesting thing is that dredge is really old. It was built in 1961. It's still operating.
Yeah.
The Scrod.
I'm sure it's been worked on a little.
Maybe change that bit once in a while. No, they don't last very long. It's like they get one project done and they have to change them. Anything else on that? Okay, move on to 3 Mile Harbor. We have a request from Kelly Hoffman of First Coastal Corporation to close out permit number T124 for dune restoration at 38 Hedges Bank Drive.
Well, it's not exactly dune restoration. This is the Landfall Association staircase replacement, and they moved it a little bit. We permitted this to move the location of the staircase to the west, because the path down to the original staircase was coming right off the road and causing a lot of erosion underneath the staircase and cutting the bluff back right in that location. Plus the staircase had the original location of the staircase. Since the bluff has eroded back, now it's sort of halfway out on the beach. So the project was to move the staircase to the west a little bit, and then would mean that the path would come down towards the bluff, but then rise slightly to get to the staircase, so erosion by the new staircase wouldn't be an issue anymore. That project is completed, and they restored the bluff face with beach grass plantings and corn in the vicinity of the old staircase. Constructed a new staircase, and it tucks right into the toe of the bluff, so it's no longer sticking out on the beach. I removed all the concrete stanchions that were supporting the old staircase, and the new staircase is not as large and massive as the original one. So Ben and I looked at the site this week, and they also looked at the pictures, and we're comfortable that it was, done the way they said it would do, and we approved. So I'll make a motion, we close out this permit.
I'll second it.
Anyone want to see the photos before?
Yeah, I'd like to see them. Thanks.
Looks good.
I
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you, board.
Didn't realize you were still there, Bill.
Yeah, we would have done it before. All right, and the next one, I'm just bringing it up. I should have brought it to the last meeting, and it got lost. We had complaints about Town Line Road North, the condition of the road, a lot of ruts. Apparently a delivery truck got stuck. Clearly the residents there are not maintaining it. Councilman Piedmont approached me and asked if we would be opposed to the town putting up some signage, which would basically be caution signs. One second, let me. Caution, road not maintained, travel at your own risk type of thing.
Where exactly on Town Line Road? It's north of the power lines?
Yeah, what road does that link up with in Sag Harbor? It's yeah, just
No,
north.
well, Merchants crosses it at some point. I think it links up with Division Street.
It's shortly before the Sag Harbor, or it's just inside Sag Harbor.
Yeah, because from Division Street, you get onto Town Line Road, and then it's used. There's some houses in the vicinity. And then
Right.
I think you cross the power lines, and there's no houses.
There's a subdivision just at the end of Town Line. I don't remember the names of the road, and it's actually in the Southampton side. But the complaints are coming from residents of that subdivision because they're using Town Line. No, it's north.
Okay. I have to see it now.
So you call that Town Line North?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Because the south end is used a little bit too, where the end of Industrial Road, some people will use Town Line and then on into into a subdivision in Southampton, or maybe it's in Sagaponack Village, I'm not sure what it is, to bypass the highway.
Yeah, no, it's the other side. Okay, so it goes past Merchants Path, Widgeon Lane,
Yeah.
up in that area.
How many signs?
So it's just past The intersection of Merchants Path and Northwest Path. I don't think too many. No,
Yeah. Make a motion to approve the signs.
Second.
Second,
all in favor?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'm fine with it, but we've had discussions about Town Line Road in the past.
Mhm.
And
It's the same, it's the same people. Yeah, but it's the same exact people, continuing to make the complaints.
But there were also issues with dumped garbage along the road down in the air, around the airport. And the landscaping debris dumped in the road. I wonder.
Well, it wasn't in the road. The debris that you're referring to was actually on properties off the road.
There was some logs dumped into low spots in the road too.
Okay.
Right around the power line crossing. I just wonder if it would be, productive to continue the dialogue with the town to see if we can maybe address some of those issues along that lower part of the road, if they still exist.
Yeah.
I've been there in a couple of years.
It's up to the board.
Just throwing it out there. Refer that to the roads committee.
That's us, Bill.
Okay. That's been a problem for like forever.
Yeah.
Are we done with that? You got anything else, John? You want to talk about on that? No? Okay. Administrative payment of the bills, East Hampton Star, $94.11 and $94.11 for 2 legal ads in the bid package. That's it.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? And financials for the months ended July 31st, 2024, and August 31st. Anybody have a chance to look at?
I have not.
I did. I looked at them today. So they looked, I make a motion to approve the bills, not the bills, the financials for July and August.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Anyone opposed? Okay. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
Yeah, I just, on Saturday was the Santa parade, and we had the trustee truck was in the parade, and we had 30 East Hampton Middle School students throwing out candy, and they all had a lesson about the pump out boat and what it does for our harbors and the importance of the pump out boat. So that the trustees, it's one of our services we do to keep the harbors clean. So it was, I think, a successful day. And it was the biggest parade. The crowds were enormous. It was huge, a huge success. So, awesome. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. You want to throw it up?
So is the next one St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, that's next
You
one.
should start planning for the decorations.
Yeah, I know we should. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, because last time we
There it is.
kind of,
And,
No, that's the Pride Parade.
Yeah.
oh, it's East Hampton Pride, meaning like,
That's middle school.
middle school.
oh, yeah.
It's more than the Pride Parade.
No, it just means that we have pride in our school.
Not anymore.
No, see the,
I see the wreath.
David
Now,
looks like he's
I
dressed
see
for
the
it.
wreath.
The red hats.
Francis and John drove. Thanks, guys. All right, that's
Thank you
it. That's
for-
it.
Not me driving.
All right, well, happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thanks for the honey, Jim.
We'll see you guys in the new year,
See you
right?
next year.
Okay, do I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
I second.
All in favor?
Oh, just as we get done, Georgia is closed on the 6th of December officially. I was down there this morning. It would open if the tide gets high enough, but, no, it's close.
Okay. Matt, thank you very much. Have a happy.
Yes, Merry Christmas on behalf of LTV and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right.
Hey, Matt, are you downstairs?
No.
No?
No, I'm at LTV Studios.
Oh, well, sorry, can't help you then.